so much trouble all his life. When he came down to Egypt, Pharaoh asked him, "How old are you?" He said, "My years have been not good years, and they did not reach the years of my ancestors, my father, my grandfather." And the Abishai said, "You're complaining? I'm taking so many steps, such steps I'm taking to make sure that you come down to Egypt with honor and not as a slave in chains, and you're complaining? Everything that happened was in order for this to come about." So similarly, we could say about the present day, that the negative things that we've seen happening October 7th and Bondi massacres and terrorist attacks and so on. Abishai, what do you do? And he says, "Listen, Kinderlach, I know what I'm doing," says Hashem. "I know what I'm doing, and eventually you're going to see that it was all necessary, and you'll understand it." But we still reply and say, "Yeah, but Abishai, you can make it happen now. You don't have to do things step by step. You can do it. Just do it. Just do it." That was a slogan a few years ago, a very popular slogan, "Just do it." And maybe this kapitel tilim that we're going to say now will be the last thing that we need to tip the scales, like they say. When the scales are even, the Rambam writes, this is 1,000 years ago. The Rambam writes, a person should always look on life as equally balanced. You know what a balance is? You have the scale with the pans, and you put the jewelry on the one side, and you put weights on the other to see exactly how much it weighs. Or food, same thing in the store with the fish, have scales. So we should look. The Rambam says, look on the world as equally balanced. Exactly, the line is exactly in the middle between good and bad. And with one good deed, one kapitel tilim, you weigh down for good, and that's it. Mashiach comes. Here we go. Lam natseya mizmar leDavid. Yancha Adonai b'yem tzara yisagev Hashem Elohei yankev. I mean, when Moshiach comes, wouldn't you want to be doing something holy, like saying a kapitel, saying a psalm of King David? If I got to get caught in the act, at least let it be a good act. I don't want to get caught, with it proverbially in an embarrassing situation. Yisra rezo hamikodesh mitzadeka. Isker kol michosecha v'yilosh neselo. Iten rochil v'avecha v'chol atzasecha yemolei. Believe me, girls, if you have that attitude, your life is a different life. If you think, before I finish doing what I'm doing now, Mashiach is going to be here already. Could you do that? Do you think you could do that? I had a friend, she's passed away, blessed memory. The first time she came to the Rebbe, she was a survivor, Holocaust survivor. And her husband brought her because he wanted her to appreciate the Rebbe. She came to the Rebbe and she asked if she could see him without her husband present. The Rebbe said, "What's the problem?" And she said, "Rebbe, I hate to trouble you, but I'm sorry. I feel cold. Cold." He said, "Tell me, do you give tzedakah every day?" She said, "Yes, I give a lot. We give a lot. A lot of people come to the house. We give a lot of charity." Rebbe said, "I didn't ask how much you give. Just, I want to know what you think about when you give." So she said, "I think I'm helping a person who's in need." So Rebbe said, "Good. Could you do me a favor?" And those were the words of Rebbe. He said, "Could you do me a favor? When you give charity, could you think to yourself that you're doing a mitzvah?" And she said, "Yes, Rebbe, I think I could do that." And he said, "Good Shabbat Tzlocha," and he gave her a bracha, and she went out. Her husband was waiting for her in the hallway. "How do you feel?" He said. "How do you feel?" She said, "I feel warm." the Rebbe had been able to touch her at that point. He had lifted off that heavy burden that she was carrying, of coldness in her heart. So that's what we have to, just like the Rebbe said to her, when you do this, could you think that you're doing a mitzvah of Hashem? You're not doing a good deed. You're doing something Hashem wants you to do. She said, yes, I think I could do that. So we have to try and be like that. It's a wonderful piece of advice. Whatever you're doing, think that you're doing a mitzvah of Hashem, or think that what you're doing could be the last thing that needs to be done before Moshiach comes. Okay, verse 5. Yiten l'chacha v'avecha. Hashem should grant your heart's desires. V'chol atzasecha yimale, enable you to fulfill your good resolutions. N'ranana b'shuasecha, and we will rejoice in the redemption. B'shem Eloheinu nidgel, we're going to raise the banner of Hashem on high. Yimale Adonai kol mishalesecha. Hashem should fulfill all your requests. Ato yodaiti ki heshi Adonai Mashiach. Now I know Hashem saves His anointed one. Yanehu mishmei kodshe b'gevurah yeshir minei. Ele v'rechav, ele v'susim, yanaknu b'shem Adonai Eloheinu nazkir. They come, our enemies, they come with chariots and vehicles of war, drones and cavalry and tanks, and we come with the name of God on our lips. And we also, geniuses amongst our people have invented this new thing called the Iron Dome to protect us. But it's not the Iron Dome that protects us, it's Hashem. Hey, Makaru v'nafalu, they stumbled and fell. V'anachnu kamnu, we got up. V'niseidad, and we're standing strong and stalwart. Adonai Yeshia Melech Yanenu v'yim karenu. Hashem is our God. He will answer us on the day we call. Okay, we're finishing up chapter 6. Which stands for the 6 emotive qualities in the person's heart. We've been learning about how Hashem has to contract and condense the flow of light and life into the world until such a minimal amount of life can come into the world and the world will not disappear. And that's how klippas get their light. What are klippas? Klippas are the vital force behind anything that is not holy. We learned what is holiness. Holiness is a place where the Spirit of God can rest, can dwell upon that place, that person, that activity. And we learned that klippas, just like there are 4 levels of holy. Hinted by the 4 letters of the name of God. So in klippa we also have 4 levels. The upper level is called klippas noga, which means it has the source of life for all things that can be used in a mitzvah, like kosher animals, kosher fish, kosher activities. And then the 3 lower levels are the source of all evil things, some worse than others. Okay, and then we got to this point on page 111, where they are hinted at and described in the vision of Yechezkel as a storm wind. Here, look on the top of page 111, for those of you who can read the Hebrew. Ruach siara means a ruach is a wind, a stormy wind. We had a big storm in Jamaica this year. If you saw the illuminations that was printed out last week, where Rabbi Raskin, who's the shliach there, was in this tremendous hurricane. He described it detail by detail. It's really frightening. a stormy wind, the anan godel, and a cloud, a great cloud. And he says there in the English, the third thing that's described there is a flaming fire, representing the three klippas. And from these three klippas, umehen nishpois v'nimshoches, from these like come a life force, which is not a good life force. Nefoshes kol umes ha'olam, and this is the source of the soul, life of the souls of all the nations of the world, from these klippas. And he goes on from people to animals. The nefoshes, the third paragraph on page 111 in the Hebrew, the souls, the nefesh is the soul. Kol balei chayim hatzameim, of all the impure animals, like rock badgers, beaver, mink, fox, bears, lions, and tigers. Kiyam nafsham. And so we have two levels of life force, the life within the animal and the life that creates the physical animal out of nothing. Did you get that? We have two levels of life here. The life in the animal itself, or in the physical life that brings it into existence, and the inner life that keeps it in existence. We call the soul. Everything has a body and a soul. So there's one life force for the body and one life force for the soul. And the same principle applies to all the foods that are available, which are asures, which are forbidden for us to eat. From the organic world, growing things. Such as what kind of organic food could be forbidden to you? I can understand animals that could be forbidden to us. Oh, good morning, Izzy. Thank you for coming. The idea behind this is that by eating food, we get energy, and we use this energy for everything we do. If we do a holy thing, the energy from the food has an aliyah and participates in the good deed that you are doing. So by saying a blessing, eating kosher food and saying a blessing, we're going to learn more about this in the next chapter, we elevate the life force within the food that we eat. The key to the catch-22 in all this is that if the food is not 100% kosher, we will not be able to elevate the life force within it. And therefore, the Torah tells us that it's forbidden. It's not that the Torah is tying our hands. The Torah is warning us, don't go there. You will not elevate that energy. It will pull you down. You don't have the spiritual strength to elevate it. Does that bother you? It doesn't have to bother you. When Moshiach comes, you will have the strength to elevate it. Therefore, the animal that goes oink oink is going to be kosher in the end. That's why it's called a chazar. Chazar, because the chazar means to return. But in the meantime, you don't have that strength. And physical enemies of our people do eat it. So the same way we have life for the body, life for the energy life. So we have also from the organic world, what kind of thing from the organic world could be forbidden to you that you can't benefit from it? Lettuce, you can eat lettuce. Radishes, cucumbers, carrots, my favorite foods. When I was a little boy, I loved cucumbers and so on. So what kind of organic food could be forbidden to you? So we have laws about vegetation. that the first 3 years of a tree's life, the fruit is called orla. It's covered. The orla means something that's covered over. And you can't access that energy. So the orla fruit, the first 3 years, the farmers say it's not good anyway. But it's forbidden to us. Or Torah doesn't really like mixtures. Doesn't like mixtures. If you have a horse and you want to plow a field, so maybe you want to put that horse together with an ox. The oxen are very powerful. Torah says, no, don't do that. Don't do it. So people make up reasons. They say because the strength of the horse and the strength of the ox are very different, and it's going to cause some kind of conflict between them. The real reason is, however, a mystical reason. Hashem doesn't want us to mix species one with the other. Similarly, in the organic world, you're not allowed to have a garden with vegetables and grapes. Grapes are permissible and vegetables are permissible. Grain is permissible. But if you mix them together, it's called kilayim. It's forbidden. And by Torah law, you have to rip it out. You have to separate them, even if they're growing there. And he doesn't like kilayim either. That's why we don't mix marriage with different peoples. The melting pot idea is not such a good idea. Similarly, at the bottom of page 111, just like there's the body of the object and the life within it, similarly, we have the things you do, the things you say, the things that you think, that they are like a physical existence. And if they are forbidden activities, that they get their life from the 365 negative commandments. This is a review here. How many positive commandments are there in the Torah? How many things are we told that we ought to do? How many positive commandments, like to make Kiddush on Shabbos is a positive commandment. To put a mezuzah up on your door, to give tzedakah. These are positive commandments for us to fulfill. There are 248 of them. 248. How many limbs do you have in your body? Also 248. What a coincidence. A mitzvah for every limb of your body. How many negative commandments are there? Well, you do the arithmetic, 613 total commandments, 248 are positive. So that leaves, get your Google calculator there. 613 minus 248 equals 365 days of the year. Corresponds to the negative commandments in the Torah. Whether these commandments are things that you do, things that you say, things that you think, you know that what you think can be a negative commandment. If a priest is serving in the temple of God and he's helping somebody who needs to bring an offering, a Thanksgiving offering, and the priest who's bringing the offering, the Kohen is a priest, and he's supposed to eat this Thanksgiving offering for 1 day or 2 days and 1 night. And it's a very big offering, it's a big animal. And he thinks he's never going to be able to eat all that in just in 2 days and 1 night. He'll have some left over, he'll bring it home later for the family. The offering is just that thought disqualifies the whole thing. Just that thought. So even thought can have a negative source. or if a person desires something that doesn't belong to him because he's envious or he's lustful, negative thoughts can also harm. Negative talk, lashon hara, kills 3 people. It kills the person who thinks it. It kills the person you're thinking about, and it kills the person who hears it. And guess what? Negative thoughts also. It's called, they sometimes referred to like an evil eye. Don't give somebody a whammy. Whammy is not a place in Florida. That's Miami. Negative thoughts can hurt very, very much. Look at a person. Somebody wrote a book in the time of Rebbe Rashab. He wrote a book, a very popular theme about 100 years ago. It's still very popular, is to be very careful what you say and not to say anything negative about somebody. It's called lashon hara. So we just said lashon hara kills 3 people. So somebody wrote a book about lashon hara, and he wanted that the Rebbe Rashab, Rabbi Shalom Ber, the 5th Rebbe of Lubavitch, should write an introduction, a few words of approval of this book. And he didn't do it. He said he doesn't want to do it. And he brought this back to the author, and the messengers asked, what did the Rebbe say? So the Rebbe didn't say anything. He just said he didn't want to do it. And he sort of made a little thing. And then the person who heard that, he made a sign with his nose. Like, so, oh, by the way, the Rebbe said that lashon hara can also be with your nose, he said. If you make a face with your nose of disapproval, that can also be considered lashon hara. Okay, so if a person is doing any negative, one of these negative commandments in action, in speech, or in thought, that's also deriving life at that moment from the klippas. And with that, we conclude this chapter. We move on to chapter 7. Chapter 7, very crucial chapter. Okay, page 113. He repeats now in the first paragraph of chapter 7 a thought that was brought up in the first chapter of the Tanya, that we have 2 souls, a godly soul and we have the animal soul. The animal soul is, we've mentioned this several times, is derived from the highest level of klippa, which corresponds to the other side. Everything in klippa is called the other side. It's the other side of the yud of God's name. God's name is a yud, a hey, a vav, a hey. The yud stands in holiness, stands for the highest level of godliness, called atzilus. And on the other side, it stands for klippas noga, life that gets its life from klippa, but can be elevated, it can be used. The animal soul in a Jewish person comes from klippas noga. Therefore, we learned in the first chapter of the Tanya, the very end there, where he says that even the good qualities in the soul of a Jewish person, natural qualities in the soul of a Jewish person, the Talmud lists 3 qualities that are natural to every single Jew, whoever you're going to meet. What are these 3 qualities? The natural qualities of a Jewish person are they're kind. Jewish people, everybody knows, Jewish people tend to be kind people. And the second thing is that they're merciful. Even when they could be strict, they have an inner tendency to feel sorry for somebody and to want to help them. And the third quality goes against the ways of the world, which is that they're modest. They're not noisy, and they're very modest in the way they dress and the way they behave. These are fundamental Jewish qualities. If these three qualities are missing, we have to wonder what ancestry do they come from? Because the opposite of these three qualities are not Jewish qualities. Okay? Where this soul is called the animal soul, it comes from Klippas Noga. And where is it found in the person? Physically, it's the physical place of this soul. We're going to ask, what's the physical place of the animal soul? What's the physical place of the divine soul? We've answered these questions before. The physical place where the animal soul is found is in your blood. Where is your blood? Everywhere. I remember being shocked when I first heard this from a teacher. He says, that means that's what you really are. You really are. Your blood is your life. And that is Klippa. And we're trying to use that energy and bring it into the realm of holiness. Where is the godly soul? If the animal soul is in the blood, that means it's in the heart. The main place is in the heart. If you lose a lot of blood, that's it. You can't survive. Where does the godly soul enter you? In your brain. And in your brain, since it's a very subtle thing, so the highest levels of the brain is the level of Chachma, which is Chachma means a potential, just a potential of a thing to live, to exist. That's where godliness comes into you physically. And therefore it's compared to a flash of lightning. It's gone before you even can see it. Moving right along. Second paragraph, page 113. V'nefashes behemes v'chayes v'ayfes v'dagim tahirim v'mutorim ba'achila. So similarly, the soul, not only of the human being, but the soul that gives life to animals, kosher animals, and wild animals. What's a wild animal? A springbok, a deer, a gazelle, an antelope. Yeah. Oifes, birds, kosher birds. V'dagim, and fish, kosher fish. What's the sign of kosher fish? They have scales. A fish without scales is not kosher. You see it at a glance. What's a fish that doesn't have scales? A sailfish, a catfish, a shark. Not kosher. Fish that do have scales and fins are tahor, pure. And they are mutarim ba'achila. They are permissible for us to eat them, fry them, to boil them, to cook them, to eat them. V'kiyim v'chayes, and similarly, all the things from the mineral world, kol hadoimim, v'kol hatzemeach, and organic things which we're allowed to eat, hamutar ba'achil, which are permissible for us to eat, they also get their life from Klippas Noiga. So Klippas Noiga is the source of life of our animal soul and the soul of all the kosher food that we eat and all the organic and all the animals which are kosher, permissible for us to eat. and even from the mineral world, anything that's permissible for us to eat gets its life from Klippus Noga. So he says, Kiyum v'chayas. Kiyum means the existence of the thing, and the chayas is the energy within it. Kol ha'maisa dibur machshava v'inyanei olam hazeh. So all of the kosher, the permissible things that you could do that are not necessarily a mitzvah, get their life from Klippus Noiga with the animal soul. What are these things? For instance, going shopping, exercise, doing business in a kosher way, reading a kosher book. It doesn't describe things that arouse negative feelings in you. Doing things worldly, participating in the world, reading the news. There's nothing forbidden about the activity. This activity gets its life from Klippus Noga. Le sharish v'le anaf mishasa mitzvahs le saseh. It's not, and this activity is not a violation of any of the 365 negative commandments or its derivatives, either negative commandments from the rabbi, from the Torah, or even restrictions from the rabbis. Rabbis made a fence around the Torah to keep rulings to keep us away from making a mistake. For instance, lighting Shabbos candles before sunset. It became a mitzvah because it's a rabbinical mitzvah to keep us from lighting candles after sunset. Rak she'enu l'shem shamayim. But if I'm doing something, exercise, for instance, or studying the stock market, or studying art history, or studying music, practice. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Manhattan. You ever went to Carnegie Hall? You know how you get there? Practice. You'll get there. As long as it's not forbidden, right? Then, but the main thing is, but it's not for the sake of heaven. It's coming from Klippus Noiga. We'll continue with this tomorrow. Just a little bit of milk. Thank you for bringing it. Yesterday, because of the confusion that the Yetzer Hara caused, was such a good class. Yetzer Hara said, I've got to do something to disrupt this class. And so he arranged that we spilled the milk. And we got so confused about cleaning up the milk. Yetzer Hara does things like that, you know. That I didn't say a bracha achroina before I left. And I realized as I'm going down the steps, I didn't say a bracha achroina. So from now on, we're going to be more careful at the end of class to take the siddur and say a bracha achroina. Thank you for the milk. But I'm leaving some over here. It's untouched. If anybody wants to have a little bit of milk. It was a little bit more than, sometimes there's a famous saying, a little bit more than a little can be sometimes by far much too much. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'nefashos rabos v'chesed al kol ma shebarasa achayes b'hem nefesh kol chaim baruch chei ha'olamim. There's a big danger in nibbling. Are you nibblers? Eat a little bit, nibble. You go about your daily activity, and then you forget to say bracha achreina. General rule, when you eat, you should be sitting down, not walking around, not walking in the street. Animals eat while they walk in the street. And before you get up, you should say a bracha achrona. Have a wonderful day. Here's some milk if anybody would like a little milk. Is it sunny out?
Yeah.
It's a sunny day. Thank you all for coming. I look at you as my teachers.
You're just trying to find your back. I don't know how good I am. I was so excited. Sorry. Like you're not. Yeah. She come late because she helped me bring one of the pictures down and then she just started. But yeah, just a heads up, we are gonna be hearing that. So just for tomorrow. You like the ball? That way we can keep like tomorrow. Yes. Oh, one of like, oh, he's like stay home and then like sense. And then every Sunday I pass and obviously you're all second or whatever, server. In collect when someone says, guys, who's supposed to drink holy milk from Rabbi Pape? I milk and your day will be. No, you will be in the. You will be in the I don't think he touched that. Guys, he poured it into that. Is the other cup. But he drink it. He just took one cup and poured it in. Holy milk. Holy milk. Thanks. I can take a shot. Okay, you will. Milk. Не знаю. Ну, по мне тогда. Yeah, I I'm just trying to. I can't do milk. I can't. Don't forget to say what we're But you don't have to do the afterthought. Us? You don't have to do an afterthought. Yeah, it's so small. Yeah, that's really. And then like. Yeah, or yeah, even more than you do that.